you're going to watch a small part of my weekly show at Chess24. To get a full version, become a premium member using the short link bit.ly/c24premium. Enjoy. This one will be just crazy. Again, the rook ending on the board, and this one is very sharp because there are a lot of different pawns about to promote, right? So white has two pawns, h7 and b6, potential queens. Black has this h2, which is also a potential queen, and moreover our king is already checked, so this just reduces many opportunities that we could have calculated here. We definitely have to move with the king, and well, we have to find a good square for our king after this check. So we have to understand what our opponent will do here, actually. So opponent's main idea is to go away with the rook from the corner and to make h1 queen move possible, right? So we have to be very careful here. At the same time, we can see that the king is very close to opponent's pawn h2. So if the king moves to g3 or h3, it makes rook h1 quite passive, because if rook goes away somewhere, well, we can take on h2. So we don't have a chance to put the king on g5, for example. In this case, just rook g1 check and then promote. We can't play, for example, king to h5 here. In this case, again, the rook simply goes away, and our promotion makes no sense, since h1 queen will be a checkmate. So this also looks ugly. So natural moves are king g3 and king to h3. So let's have a look if there is a difference. So the intuition says, of course, that we have to occupy h3 square because it is a safe one. After king h3, there is no check at first glance. But still, king g3 looks also quite well, because in this case, if rook g1, then king takes h2, and so on, right? But here, black has very important resource. So after king g3, of course, moving the rook from h1 somewhere makes no sense. So rook g4 is another great move here, a sacrifice. The point that black prevents king g2 move. After king g3, it was one of our ideas, just to put the king here and then eliminate the pawn. But of course, our main threat is to promote our pawn. So here rook goes to g4, very important resource. The point that if king takes, then rook g1 check and h1 queen, just promoting and stopping our h7 pawn. And as we can see, our king is just completely exposed. So even if we come up with some counterplay using our b pawn or something, then black just checkmates our king very soon. So king takes g4 is not possible. Then what to do? To go to h3 again, and then just rook from h1 goes to g1, creating a threat of a checkmate now, h1 queen. So we can't promote again. As you can see, g7 square protects the king on b2, right? So h8 won't be a promotion with check. So here we have to take on h2, and okay, black has a chance just to force a draw after rook g2. So as you can see, our king can't hide. So our h7 has no chances to be promoted here. So here we can see that king g3 will be a mistake in a view of this opponent's resource. Again, the attention to opponent's resources makes sense. So you have to understand every time which resources your opponent has. And it's in such a sharp situation, you have to check different possibilities, including different sacrifices, just like this rook to g4. So everything can happen. So king h3 becomes our main candidate move. And we can see that now rook g4 makes no sense, right? Because it is just a move without check. This gives us a possibility to promote to a queen after h8. So rook h1 can't move because h2 drops. So black has to do something aggressive here. And the only possibility to do that is rook to h4. Check. Again, the same idea, as you can see. So if our king goes to the g file, then it is possible to play rook to g1 check. Doesn't matter really to g3 or g2, rook goes to g1 and then h1 promotes. So we have to take the rook, right? So king takes, and here, as we can see, pawn h2 is no longer attacked. So black has the time to move in the rook somewhere, creating a threat of the h1, somewhere along the first rank. And let's start with the most natural one, just to put the rook to g1, right? What can be more natural than that? So rook goes to cut off the king, so h1 becomes a threat of a checkmate, not only a promotion. So white has to find a defense. So it's still not possible to promote on pawn. What to do? We have definitely to eliminate h2 pawn, otherwise it will be a checkmate. And we can see the second rank, right? So it is actually the only possibility for us to eliminate the h2 pawn. So Swimmer Chess says g5. g5 makes no sense because in that case king goes to h5 and white will have a chance to promote with check on h8. So g5 is definitely bad for black. Okay, so here white has a chance to sacrifice one of rooks, but at the same time to eliminate the pawn. So rook a2, for instance, doesn't really matter with which rook to go to the second rank. The point is that the next move will be also to the second rank and then to take the pawn finally. So king takes a2, rook goes to c2, king goes away somewhere, and rook takes h2. White easily wins here, h8 is inevitable. Is it really the end of the study? Of course not. So we have to phrase the problem for our opponent. So as we can see, when the rook goes away from h1, then we have this winning idea of rook a2 and rook c2. So to make this idea not that great, black has to protect the pawn on h2 somehow. And here comes the most tricky move. So rook goes to b1. Exactly here, just to have rook b2 after the second check of white's rook to protect h2 pawn. That's really important. So let's have a look if we continue with the same plan, because we don't actually have anything better, right? So h1 is in the air, so we have to play only forced moves here. So rook goes to a2, king takes on a2, rook goes to c2 check, and now the point of rook b1. So rook goes to b2, protecting h2 pawn. So if we capture on b2, then king takes b2 and, well, black wins, right? So we can't take the rook. We can't take on h2 here because rook takes and then takes on h7 and just in time to stop our b pawn. So we have to stop the pawn with only rook to c1, our only possibility here. And what to do with black, because now h8 is a great threat, right? So checks make no sense actually. King simply goes to g3, then takes on h2, and so on. So after rook c1, the only possibility for black to keep fighting is rook to b1. And now it looks like a draw, right? So we still can't take the rook on b1. So black promotes with check and then takes our queen on h8, for example. If we put the rook back to c2, then rook goes to b2. So nothing really happens here. So what to do? How to improve the situation? How to limit the activity of black's pieces here? So actually the most active piece in black's position is the pawn on h2. And the only way, a classic one actually, to limit the activity of the pawn is to blockade it, right? So it is well known from the times of Nimzowitsch. So how to blockade h2? Of course, with the help of rook to h1, our only move. With the help of this move, we force black to capture on h1, otherwise we just promote without problems. So rook takes h1, and now we can see what we achieved in this situation. So the rook is currently passive on h1. The pawn on h2 is not that active, actually, because it can't move. So it gives us the time for promotion. So let us promote, right? h8 queen. And again, we can break too early here. Well, the majority of club players can break the calculation too early, but it's not the end, because despite we already have a queen, and this queen looks really active because we have a lot of different checks, including queen to a8 and so on. Still, black has this very important pawn on g7, which makes our possibilities seriously reduced. And by the way, it is a typical pattern for studies. So promotion to a queen doesn't mean anything. So everything can happen. So this queen could appear not that active, or not active enough to achieve something, and so on. And true, rook goes to g1 now, simply protecting very important g7 pawn, which limits the activity of our queen, and regaining the threat of h1 promotion, and actually it will be a queen, right? It will be a queen, and it will be a checkmate. That's a problem for us. So for instance, queen g8 check loses immediately. King simply goes to b2. We have no additional checks now, and h1 will be winning, will be just devastating. So again, we have to stop the pawn h2 somehow, and the only possibility for us to do that is to blockade it. So queen goes to a8 check, king goes to b2, doesn't really matter where, but okay, let it be b2, and queen goes to h1 now. So the rook was sacrificed on h1 to stop the pawn. It was really important. Now the queen goes to h1 to stop that pawn. Well, rook has to take, otherwise queen takes h2. So rook takes on h1, and okay, we have one more. Pawn goes to b7. It's not possible to prevent the promotion of this pawn, and now it is a different story. So pawn promotes with check. That is really important. And as you can see from that square, the queen will control h2, which again makes rook h1 passive here. So when the rook goes away somewhere, doesn't really matter where, then simply b8 check. Let's say c1, doesn't really matter. So b8 check, king goes away. Let's say it is okay here, then queen takes. That's it, theoretically winning position. So if after queen h1 rook doesn't take, then what to do? Nothing really. So in all the cases, white wins. So b7 followed by b8 is coming, h2 is hanging. So not possible. So Kramnik student says, this is way beyond my current skills. That is why I show you guys these studies, because they are, first of all, very nice. They are full of insights. They're full of important and useful information for you. And also, all these studies load you with enormous quantity of different patterns that are probably completely new to you. So that is the point. So once you see this pattern, right, it's very hard to forget it. It's very hard to, you know, just not to use it when you have a chance to do that over the board after that. So if you memorize the patterns correctly, if you memorize them well, this increases the quantity and quality of methods that you can use over the board, finding the move, especially in endgame stage, because the majority of studies are from endgame stage and so on, right? So that's how it works. So the more you learn, the more you see, the easier it becomes for you to find something like that, right? So many studies exploit, for example, the same topic. For example, there are a lot of studies with this blockading on the corner square with the help of sacrifices and so on. So for example, after analyzing this study, whenever you have the study like this one, you will have a chance to find the idea because you already saw that here. That's how it works. The more you learn, the better you become. Very obvious, by the way.